was dated July 26th. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? To the point that where StreamYard didn't want to recognize me. You know what I was doing wrong the whole time? I was using
Well,
my I was using the wrong email address.
oh, there it goes. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
using the wrong email address. Yeah. See, like I said, I hadn't been here so long. They the sign ain't even on the door. You know what I mean? I'm gonna end up
And I
having to.
can I I can
End up,
share this too later, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm about to say because once it goes live, either that or shoot, I send it to you direct. And you know what? I can't. You would have to do it because your page is normally private to posting on it. But
Okay.
yeah, for my folks who are up tonight with us on this Monday night at 10 o'clock, it is your favorite host, the two-time ATL's hottest DJ, the God DJ Agony, also known as Dr. Dope. I'm with my brother Laris Hodges, and this is that thing of ours. You know what I'm saying? To where, we really just get into that thing of ours. We can't necessarily say what it is because of who we are, what we do, and different things of that sort. But nonetheless, you've seen enough movies, you can't use the
That's
M
it.
word, so we just call it the thing of ours.
The thing
Everybody
of
and everybody,
ours.
yeah, this thing of ours. It's really exclusive. Only if you can understand and touch on
Oh
this thing of
man,
ours.
listen, and we've gone back for so long, doing this stuff, so it's like second nature to us. But I'm ready.
A-
Let's chew
ab-
to the fat.
Absolutely, man. And the anniversary just came up, right?
That makes sense. Yeah,
Our
because
our in, our instinct anniversary was actually last week. Last week, sometimes.
that makes sense because I was the 25th of October, so it would have been shortly thereafter, y'all. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, first show at Instinct, man. Yo, big shouts out to them people over there, man. It's like one of those things to where I always have to give a shout out to them because they gave us a platform when others wouldn't.
that's right. That's our roots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
is definitely the crib, man. But yo, man, tell these folks, Hodges, man, just in case they unenlightened and uninvited, who you is and what you do, bruh.
well, I mean, my name's Laris Hodges, and I do, I guess, whatever it takes. But now you can. I mean, we've been everything. Agony. We've been entrepreneurs, radio show hosts, brand ambassadors,
Absolutely,
educators. Um,
absolutely,
you know, everything you can think of under the sun, including and not limited to. Now I would even say political activists, right?
absolutely. Hold on, I got too far away. There you go. It still worked too.
Uh, right. Yeah, so I'm ready to chew it open, man, and I wanted to talk about the political aspect of it because there was some things that have come up, and we,
Oh, absolutely. Like
as
definitely.
you,
Like go ahead,
yeah,
jump into that, man. Like let them know exactly like because my brother I got my nephew in the building, Spud King. What up, boy? So let's have a dope time. Oh, we always do, man. We always do. That's what we here for. But I was just telling Laris before we got on air about how much of a leap that he is making against the normal grain of society because and the thing is, my brother out here, and he's pushing a movement that he ain't scared to stand in front of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, especially when we start talking about conservative, people think Republican, and right now, yes, it is Republican, but that's the reality of things is that there is not a conservative bone in the Democratic Party's body. And so, if you're not for little boys getting their penises cut off and all of that stuff, you won't make it through the primary as a Democrat. There was at one point a conservative part of the Democrat Party, but it just doesn't exist. And by nature, I think man is conservative. I think straight heterosexual alpha men. I wouldn't even say alpha. Let me not. Let's throw that out. Any type of heterosexual man that understands the role of being a man is naturally conservative because when we think of liberal means just it's kind of like a euphemism for anything goes, right? You know what I mean? And
True,
that's what we've
true.
seen. It's continued to domino in that direction. And I don't think that we're in any way, shape, or form looking to politics in any way to change any of the problems. But if you're a swimmer, I look at it as like it's a good push off of the wall, in
Mm,
terms of setting a standard for what should be societal norms. And that's what I would like to say about that. I also would like to say with that, um, I had gotten some. You know what? Let's not go to the negative. I went into deep blue territory, and these were all black men, and we all looked alike, and
mm,
it was a wonderful thing because what I found out and what they found out is that we all had more in common than not in common.
mm-hmm.
There was some differences to a degree, but while we may have fought amongst each other, I had a feeling of camaraderie and a belief that even if we're fighting amongst each other, if somebody of another nationality had jumped in and hit either one of us, then we both would have jumped on them. And I'm gonna
Right.
tell you, that's a very wonderful feeling, man. It was we bonded, man, as black men because regardless of being in love with a label, we still see the world the same way, and that's through the very unique lens that it is the black male experience.
And you know what? With saying that, you would think that at some point in time we would have united a party by us and for us.
I think that's coming.
Because the thing is, you take out Democrat, you take out Republican, you take out conservative, you take out liberal. Our bond is being black in America.
Correct.
That is our bond. So it's like, where is the union on just that bond alone? Whether you African, Muslim, Episcopalian, Christian, what have you, the bond is that we're black in America.
Correct. And we very much saw that. I mean, all of our experiences are the same, and we generally all want the same things. And
Absolutely.
the biggest difference, Agony, that I tried to highlight was that when you look at the state of Tennessee passing laws that say that it has to be mandatory paternity testing, you look at Florida passing laws that says there's no permanent alimony anymore. You look at laws in
Mm,
Florida that say now that we're erected that say there's no more if you cannot afford an attorney and you're a father that's not married and you want your paternal rights, they will provide one for you in the state of Florida. When you look at the fact that if the mother is not compliant with whatever the agreement is with the courts and the family courts in terms of picking up, dropping the kid off, all of these things, the mother can be fined $500, and that's in the state of Texas, another red state. What I tried to illustrate, and they didn't even know this, that these laws were existing. I believe there's going to be a landmark child support law that's going to be handed down in North Carolina, and
mm.
I'm I, what I'm trying to show them is that yeah, I understand. For a long time as black men, we have not really been politically active because there was nothing in it for us either way. And so it is this education,
Facts.
right? It's this education. It's the water. You know what I mean? They get a little bit of this water, and they're loving it, man. You know what I mean? And so we are going to change a lot of things. We are. Mhm.
That's true. And you know what? I will say this, like, I'm glad that it's going beyond just standing on the courthouse steps with speeches. Like, yo, speeches are cool, but I need some papers to get pushed to really make these speeches walk. You see what I'm saying? And I'm glad to see that that's what's happening rather than just more speeches.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And you're very right about that. And that's what this is about. I mean, the only reason that you get politically active is if you represent a group, subgroup, or whatever that needs legislation. And oftentimes, as black men, we find ourselves the victims of people and situations that we can't control. And God has actually given us a lot of authority over these people and situations, but you still can't control it. And I'm saying that to say that in the absence of being able to control somebody, you need laws because these same people will use laws against you.
Goddamn.
So if you finally have a
Shit.
chance, if the white man is experiencing the same, if the straight white man is experiencing the same problems as a straight black man, then it would be wise for black men to align themselves with this party, because at the end of the day, when laws are passed, it's not going to say if you're a white man, this is the law. It's going to say if you're a man.
Right.
You feel
And
what I'm saying?
see, you really know that it's hit and hit hard when it starts affecting straight white men.
Correct, and they're tired of it. And
Right.
they
And you know
never
what?
really had the
Straight
same problems that we had, but now it's
hell
gotten
no.
so bad.
So when they get a glimpse of said problems, it's like, oh, it's time to start straightening shit. No. Straight white men ain't playing that shit. They are not. And they're gonna make shit to where they want it to be. So yeah, I get what you're saying on that. Like, it's good to be on that train when they get to fix and stuff, when they get it back on the rails. It's good to be on that train. I get what you're saying. Interesting take in perspective. So yo, man, like I'm with a homie the other day, and he telling me about this situation he done ran himself into. He's dealing with his sister, and this is one of those type things. One of the things, the reason why I reach out to my brother Laris is because I get uncut conversation from him. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna give it to you raw, right? You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm right or wrong, he's gonna correct it. You know what I'm saying? However it need to be. So got a black screen going on over here. Oh, there you go. He back. Oh, there you go. Well, all right. But we still here though. And we're gonna be here for a little minute. So, y'all don't get lost. Well, what you could do in the meantime, go invite some of your peoples, because I know they ain't doing nothing tonight. It's just Monday.
Okay,
They
all right,
kicking
I'm
it.
sorry.
And there you go. My brother's back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know this brother, whatever, one of the homies, you know what I'm saying? Me and him go way back, way back. And he's telling me about this situation he's in with this sister, where pretty much the sister is like, said it out there about, like, she's an open book, you know what I'm saying? And that at a time in life, I guess you would say, a recent time in life, this sister was very, very, very promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? Very
Mhm.
promiscuous. And the thing is, though, my boy's a month in and he's seeing red flags already.
Well,
And I'm thinking, like, hey, bro, like, in my head, now's a good time to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you hadn't invested anything, so therefore there's no gain, no loss. You could go ahead and just slot your chips on there and just go ahead and call this a day. He don't want to
right,
budge though.
right. Well, if I may,
Go ahead.
I've been in those situations. That Okay. So you want to get straight into the topic?
Let's get to it.
Okay. Can you turn a hoe into a housewife? Here we go.
Yeah. And and not only can you, is it even worth it?
You cannot turn a hoe into a housewife, but a hoe can turn herself into a housewife
Interesting. How you see that?
because it has to be an intrinsic decision. It has to be a conviction. And it could be based off a number of different things. It could be the fact that sex to women at times means attention. I've heard from a lot of women that they didn't feel loved or wanted, and so they were promiscuous for that reason. I don't know about the nymphos or those people. And women see their body as currency. So even if they're getting something
Mm.
from you, whether it's wisdom or just being able to hang out with you and have a good time, they may trade their body off.
I mean,
And
it's a dollar that just keeps on spending. You know what I'm saying?
all right, now because a woman, sorry, I ran these deli chip and they're delicious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
The kettle cooked jalapeno, man. You
how did
talking
you
kettle
know that
go
though?
mix it.
How did you know? Did you see the
I
bag?
yeah, I saw the bag.
Yeah, I mean, so you have that aspect of it. Here's the dangerous aspect of it to me because as even as a man, I've had a I wouldn't even say a high level of promiscuity. I would say I was a serial monogamer or serial polygamer or whatever. Because I dated the same girls for like 7, 8 years, man, like the same four.
Right.
Every
Just
now and
say
then we had an
just say
extra
four.
one,
I like it.
or we had an extra one thrown into the group. You know what I mean? You have to always have to keep your mind open to alternates.
Right, right,
But
right. Shake things up
uh,
a little. You know what I'm saying?
right, let's you know what I mean. Even if they're coming off of the bench, we might be able to use them. But the point, I know that I sound like a creep. But what I will say is that I did change, and a lot of that was same reason. I didn't know who I was, and I went off of a misogynistic belief system. A lot of people would call me a chauvinist. I wouldn't say that. I would say that I'm a traditionalist, and I do believe that men have a role and women have a role. But
Hmm.
this is what I caution people who have had a history of promiscuity on both sides.
Hmm.
There's this term called psychological projection. And so because you have lived a certain way for so long, one, you're immune to how your actions can be a like here's what I'm saying. When you're used to living on the edge, when you get 2 feet away from the cliff, it looks dangerous to somebody else. But you thinking like, well, I'm used to living on the edge, so this is nothing, right?
Right, right.
And at the same time, you view people through the lens that you've lived your life with, right? You know what I'm saying? So if I'm a thief, if I put it like this, if I'm a hammer, everything looks like a nail,
Everything like a
you
nail.
know.
There it is.
And I think that so for men, with your homie, if I had to speak for men, I would say that first and foremost, never ask her level of experience, and if she starts volunteering it, I probably would tell her to stop. What I would do is because there's no right answer. These magical questions about how many people have you slept with, you'll never get the right answer
You'll
if you're a
never get the
man.
right answer.
And it,
But the thing
and
is,
it, there
as a
is no
man,
right answer
right, right. Chris Rock even
because
told you, like, if she
even if it's
says
one,
two, right, right.
you're gonna be like, he be like, yeah, he beat me. Because women, man, they'll tell you these. They'll be like, yeah, man, he just came in one day and started beating and stabbing me, and because they don't do anything wrong. So if somebody just came in and started beating on her and stabbing her and beating their kids up and stuff, right? Like that's really in men's character. Men don't want to fight women; they want to fuck them. So but all of a sudden he came in and he just wanted to start. The nigga wanted to get his Liu Kang on in the house after work one day. You know what I'm saying? And so as men, I'm not saying that there aren't bad apples. As men,
God
I'm not
damn.
saying that there aren't bad apples. I'm just saying that
Absolutely.
it's more than meets the eye. And I'm not saying that any of that is excusable either.
Right.
But I'm just saying, so my point is that, and then they'll come back and be like, "That's the only man I've been with," and then a man will be like, a man in his mind will be like, "Well, damn, the dick was that good that you stayed through all of that." So I tell people, I tell people to stay away from that question. Women should never volunteer that as a response to
Absolutely.
anything, and furthermore, I just live in the now and the day and say, "Listen, I don't know what happened before me, but." If something goes, have a zero tolerance. If I and most men do. But you can't really have a zero tolerance if you still live in deficiency yourself as a man, because you're gonna have somewhat of a subconscious guilt barrier per se that's gonna prevent you from leaving them if you know that you also are doing the same thing. You know what
Right,
I
right. I
mean?
mean, you perpetuating the same shit that's been happening to her. Like you put yourself in that category. Like you a statistic amongst the rest of them. You know what I'm saying?
Correct, correct.
Right.
And I want to say something about this too.
Mm-hmm.
I know we get into the political aspect of it.
Right.
Um, I'll say this, and because a woman said to me, she said, "So you don't, because I'm conservative, you don't like women?" I said, "No, I love women. I mean, I'm a heterosexual man. I love women. I have no problem getting women. What I don't like the attitude. I don't like the deleterious influence that it's having on our community with them being in a position of control."
Mm.
And I mean, you can see it, and I'm not blaming them, but how do you get somebody to step back? How do you get them? How do you if this car goes out and a bunch of them do, they're going to be a recall, right? And Western culture has infiltrated their minds, but I don't. I think that there's no question about it that a woman can see a man, and th- she could have one man before you, and he loves her or whatever, and she just does whatever she wants to. She walks over him. I seen the shit, and then the bitch have a nigga that she's fucking with after that say I don't like cigarettes, and then all of a sudden she quit smoking. What I'm saying is that they will and have. I've seen it. If they like, if you can unlock that key in them, they can. But it has to be a genuine conviction.
That's true. And it's one of those type things to where, until it's like, you look at that whole aspect, it's a verb and it's a mentality as well. You know what I'm saying? Like until that it is, and whatever it is that would possibly break said mentality, maybe you can, what I'm saying, you can have a housewife out of that hole or whatever. But it's one of those type things like, is it worth it?
Well, if we looked at passport bros, and that's very big now. That's what we're talking about. That's the reason it's called passport bros. It's because white men have been doing it for the longest. So now this movement is labeled passport bros. But you getting a hoe if you get them from another country because they probably survive about off of their body there. You
Off
know
of
what I'm saying?
prostitution, yeah, possibly. But then it's like it like even with that though, that mentality has to die. You know what I'm saying? Like she can't look at you like a hustle, like a come up. You know what I'm saying? For it to be a legitimate, hey, I'm going to marry you situation, you're going to be a wife situation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, while I agree with you, and I think that to be straight up honest with you, I think most women say that and believe that in their brain, but social media and a number of distractions just cloud their ability to hone in on it. I mean, there's a level of unappreciation. So you could have a girl that loves a guy that gives her a flower, and but then if she goes on IG, she could see a guy who gave his girl a bouquet of roses, and then that girl will be envious of a guy who got a bed, well, got a room or something like that, and put rose petals on the bed, and then champagne. And then that woman will be jealous of a girl who got a vacation with a tennis bracelet, and then that girl will be jealous of a guy who got his girl jealous of a girl who her guy got her an Aston Martin. And then at some point it'll be that girl who gets jealous of a girl whose guy got her a giraffe or some shit. And so I'm saying that to say that the real question is that is there a finite level of appeasement for them? And with hypergamy being very, very real, it's scary. It's very scary, man. They do get it, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Some of the best women I've come across, man, they are in their 40s and 50s. But guess what?
Mm.
They're on a clearance rack. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that they're not worth. See, here's the thing. They don't understand it that when we ask women your age, they put these taboo things aside. You can't ask a woman her age and her weight. First and foremost, men, I've never seen a man ask a woman her weight. So, sister, what would you say? Are you 163 or 165 or what? Because I need to know. You know,
I mean,
uh,
usually, you know what I'm saying, if you in tuned enough, you could kind of look and tell about where she
either
is.
you
You know what I'm saying?
either you like it or you don't,
Then
and
there's that.
and that's it. But the age question is centered around your ability to procreate
That
often.
part.
You know what I mean?
Is it
And
often?
that's why people don't want, because I mean I would sleep with Jada Pinkett's mom, and she's got to be close to 70. So it's not about whether or not I would sleep with you. When men ask, a lot of times, depending on what type of man he is and what he's looking for, he wants to know if you still of childbearing age.
Mm.
So, I think that you brought up a very good point. It is it. I think the real question is, can a woman love you and want to be with you? Yes. The question is it sustainable? Is she bigger than the distractions and her environment around her? And I would say that she is not. And in a lot of instances, more than less. So in the barbershop, God says to me, when he doesn't like my political stance, he said, well, I'd rather fight it out with a black woman until she gets it right versus deal with a deal with a white man. I said, okay. I said, so then I listened to it. Everybody was like, no, that's a good point. He's like, anybody think they can hit me with a dagger? But I turned around and I said, all right, now how many men gonna be eager to go back down on that woman when she does figure it out and comes back to you after you know she done slept with another man? You could hear a feather dropping that motherfucker. So what I'm saying is we don't have time to learn on the go with certain things. We have to make commitments and we got to stick with them. We got to say, hey, look, I'm gonna ride this out. Because the reality of things is that if a woman come back, man ain't gonna want to deal with her in the. He's not gonna look at her as valuable as he did prior to.
Oh, no, no, hell no.
Because she's gonna say, okay, she done went out here and soiled herself, and it's hard, man, because they won't for whatever reason. This stuff is not resonating with them, and I think Ebony Williams. Did you see that?
Which one?
Oh, she recently came back. I don't know who got a hold of Ebony Williams. She must be like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get me a man. I'm gonna say the right thing, or somebody hit her with some real wisdom. Cause she said the older a man gets, his value goes up. It doesn't matter with us how many degrees or our career status, and it really doesn't because you're not gonna give me any money. You're not gonna take me out on any dates. Maybe if I'm a good boy one day, right? Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Yes, I definitely think that if a love deficient woman who's been promiscuous has an opportunity to get with somebody and she gets a chance to experience love, then she's not going to want to let that go at any cost. But how does that work when you have to compete against IG and all of that and the
and,
women love
and
attention? Yeah.
and the fact that you got to compete with your own really hoish nature, like
Yeah.
whatever is in you that you didn't cope with, that had you using men as a coping mechanism, you gotta get that out your system. And so even after, let's just say, she decides she want to come in off the streets, and she tired of being a hoe, is it worth it? What do I have left? I can't even, like, we can't even go to your class reunion because niggas gonna be dapping each other up. Like, I'm gonna say, yeah, I remember that time. I do too, cuz.
Right. She was a little dry that day. I had carpet burn. Right.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
Dudes dapping dudes like, yo, man, my nigga, yo, I was there.
she looked good now. You know,
Right,
she was a bust
right.
down when I hit her. Right.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And so now you the dude that kind of, you know what I'm saying, scraped
You
up
got
off the
egg on your
curb and,
face.
and
Yeah.
trying to marry her. Yeah, that shit's crazy. Like, is that part even worth it though? What up, Slim? Hey, you know where I'm at, man. Just hit me. But is it even worth it? Like, what are the benefits? It's like you just said. You know what I'm saying? It's ironic that you say that because I'm about to hit a monumental age this year, but I feel like that though. That as a man gets older, his value goes up. And but with women, I don't feel the same. If anything, your value
Well,
fades.
it does. But the good thing is they still get their peak years. Their peak years from 21, 22, all the way up until I'd even say as low as 18. I'd say 18 to probably about.
35.
There's always a, yeah, 35. Let's say there's always that plus or minus.
That's true. Margin of error.
And you need to lock them in, but there are institutions that just aren't teaching right. And I think that while the discussion we're having today may be one that's unpleasant, it's very necessary. And Nicole Williams said this, and this is the one thing that I did admire. She was the one, you remember, that wouldn't date the bus driver or whatever. No, I'm
Oh, okay,
sorry.
yeah.
You know, the well-to-do attorney. One thing she said, well, she said, this is, you're going to want to archive this, man. This is landmark. She said that I want younger women to know that while they're younger, they need to lock in and get them a man. And I thought that that was big for a couple different reasons. Because there's like when women get to a certain age, first off, women never give women any information, it appears, right? At least from what I've seen. And the bitter button sets in. They like, I had to learn the hard way, so you got to learn the hard way. And they're
But
like biblical.
and you know where that comes from? What's fucked up about it? That comes from their mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mom will fuck a woman up. A mom, let me tell you something. Mom get a hold to a woman mind and they do it on purpose. It's like, oh, nah, shit. Because not a lot of times the daughter and the mom are best friends. And then at the same time, it's like it's a double whammy. It's like I don't want to see you have something I didn't have, and then I don't want to lose my best friend. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Women keep women single. Kevin Samuels said that, and it is very true.
Ooh.
And a lot of sometimes they're even competing with them. I mean, I've seen women in their 20s or whatever, their mom in their 40s, and the mom's trying to get in front of the 20-year-old. I'm like, no, no, ma'am,
You had your day though.
you did. And maybe nobody taught you, and I hate that. I hate that for
But
them.
you know what? That kind of came from her mama. You see what I'm saying? So we get on here and we talk about, what I'm saying? A lot of people want to use that term breaking generational curses, but that's one right there that happens, what I'm saying? That's been happening for generations. Like there's psychological theories that's written on this about a mother's envy of her daughter.
They are. I mean, because people look at now you've got youth, you can get it right, and you should help them and instruct them.
You would think so, but then in the back of their mind, they're thinking that should have been me.
Right. Or, I mean, they won't teach these young. I know a lot of older women, word is bond, that even hang out with younger girls because they want to get men. But in addition to hanging out with younger girls, they also never give them, like, no woman is going to give another woman a trick to beating her.
Oh fuck no.
So they don't say things like, yeah, leave. Every smart woman says, you know what? I if you come across a wise woman, the first thing she say is when you start asking her what she like to do, she'll say something like, "You at some point you'll hear, I love cooking." I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's old school kicking
I,
ass right
I'm
there.
about
You
to
know
say
what I
ain't
mean?
no way around that one right there though. Ain't no way around that.
Yeah, it happened to me today. A girl was 25. I was like, oh, she got somebody good in her corner, and I was like, well, if you need help eating it, I can be there for you. You
We
know what
got
I mean?
Definitely got you. I got K Duplessis in the building. What's happening with you, shouted? She said, "Not all mothers fuck their daughters up. Not all. I mean, an inclusive statement like all would be lying, but it's a it's enough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's enough and it's noticeable. It said, when will you ever speak about the broken men? We talking about women tonight. Like, there are other media platforms that talk about that.
Well,
But
I mean, I'll at least comment on the sister's comment
hey,
because
go for it. I ain't got nothing
I
for
mean,
it.
a lot of times that
the,
still
the,
goes back even to the women because not intentionally, but a lot of times the women who have sons, the sons are broken
Mm,
because the mother, for whatever reason, couldn't keep the father, so she has a very strong attachment to the son.
she marries her son.
Mhm. Pretty much, and she cripples him from ever moving forward. No woman's ever good enough for the son. I was the oldest son for my mother, and I still love my mother. But I want to be honest. I think that my mom overreached at times, and the overreaching wasn't really about me just staying with her, but I think that it messed me up because I could have spent more quality time with my mother if I wasn't embattled. Why don't you just let me see that what you're saying is true, mommy? You know what I'm saying?
And I
So,
get it. On one instance, she don't want you to touch the hot stove, but how do you know the stove is hot if you don't touch it? You
right,
know, you know what I'm saying?
and
That leads to a giant paradox. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah, I love. I mean, I love my mother, but mothers have turned their sons into their man. And another issue with that, they are very broke. But you know what? I don't have my mother. Is your mother still living?
she is.
God bless you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm a broken man. Because I don't know I'll never see love again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because my mother was what I knew love to be. That she chewed into me, but she loved me. And there are a lot of broken men for a lot of different reasons, but the world doesn't change for men no matter how broken or unbroken we are. Like the consequences just exist. We still have to pay bills. No, if we don't have any money in our pocket, we can't make a call and call somebody up. And so, for anyone, even the young lady that commented, to even deal with broken men, I'm sure was probably, I can't say her, but to the benefit of a lot of women, because if he had to be a man, he still had to meet the requirements, the minimum mandatory
The,
requirements to
the
even
bare
go out
minimum
with her.
requirements. Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Without having the emotional support as well,
Yeah, I
lest
mean,
they be there, because men are loyal. If you want to call a man a dog, I'll let you have it one way, and then but you got to accept it the other way. Dogs are very loyal, and no matter how stray they are, or what life they've lived, or how much terrain they've gone through, the person that takes care of them, they not moving from up under.
hell nah, hell nah, that's real. But you know what? It's one of those type things too. Like, I mean, and just even dealing with, what I'm saying, previous comment is one of those things. I saw this video today. It was meant to be funny, but it was more true than anything. That whenever we get on a conversation, we hold women feet to the fire on something. It's always, well, what about when men do it? And it's like when I tell my students, I got seventh grade again.
Oh, that's the best age, the middle school. Woo.
Nigga,
Mhm.
please. I hate this shit. But
I know. That's the worst grade.
that's the seventh grade is the worst grade. However,
Mhm.
if I call you on something, the first thing they want to yell out, what about when he did it? That had been me. If I did it, I get in trouble. They ain't get in trouble when they did it. It's like the accountability with the seventh graders non-existent. I get that, but we talking about grown women, adult women. Like, yo, if I'm calling you on some shit, I'm telling you about this shit. Don't come telling me what the fuck I'm doing. Fix your shit.
Well, women
This
are
there
designed
was
to
a
be
there,
led.
there was a
They're
video.
designed to.
It was a
Mhm.
video I saw earlier. They had three women lined up. It was on some shit like Fear Factor. Had the table covered up with a cloth, and so they snatched the top off the table, and they said, and it had the word accountability spelled out on the table, and so
Yeah.
it's three women. One of them just said, "Fuck this shit, I ain't doing it," and she left. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was set up like Fear Factor. The other two, they up there nervous as hell, don't want to come near the table. It ended up going off before either one of them went near the table. But it's so real. Like I remember making a joke one time and said, I thought, women think accountability is something you do at a bank.
Well, the
Because
only thing that can be accountable is a leader, and that's indicative of leadership because
you should be at least be a
leadership
leader of
is,
your you should at least be a leader of yourself though.
yeah, well, you should be, but lead, leader of yourself and govern yourself, yes. But I think they have to be led. I can't tell you how many times, and I never throw it in a woman's face, where I've been like, if you'd have just let me make the decision. See, I can give them the benefit of the doubt. I say, listen, if 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 we put two sets of hands on this wheel and we go over in a ditch, we don't know who to blame. At least let me do it so you can blame me if it goes wrong. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're not, and we as men, we play these games in society about accountability, and we talk about it, but they're not. They just it's not gonna happen because nothing is ever their fault, and they don't provoke. And to your point, there are some women like the one in that study or whatever. That like when a woman don't even want to hear what you got to say, it's because they already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying?
Is it
Like,
really that they know what time it is?
oh yes. When they don't want to let you get that sentence out, brother, they know we operate from a place of logic. So it's like we have to. It's weird, like how we have to do things. Like we gotta like be super creative. We gotta figure out a way to be wise and not speak. And that's like that's tough. That's grown man shit right there to be like, I know this is what you said, but I know this is what you meant. So therefore, I'm not gonna respond to it as what you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, but you gotta now we gotta go into not only just taking what you said, but I gotta go infer meaning too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll say this: doing it, moving off of what you believe as a man, I don't think it's limited to necessarily catering to what they want. Sometimes it can be understanding what they want and doing the opposite and using their words against them. Well, like, I'm sorry, sister. I really like you. I don't want to pressure you. You told me not to call you, and I didn't because I respect you. I remember you told me the last time, and I listened to it. I remember you told me last time you didn't like it when people call you when you're out, when you say you need some space or some room or whatever. And but because I like you, I'm gonna respect that. And then you hit them with the, hey, I gotta go. I'm gonna call you right back. I
Yeah,
mean,
get the piece of paper in the phone.
I'm gonna hit you right. I'm gonna hit you right back. I mean, it's difficult because as men, I think our mind plays with us, right? And we know how we've been as men. We've been very promiscuous. We've had sex, enjoyed a lot of it. Um, well, at least I know I have.
My brother.
Yeah, but, but I'm saying that to say, I think that our minds get the best of us. But when our biggest problem, I talked to my boy yesterday, man, and we and him the same age. We're 42. I told him, man, I said, I think a lot of our problem as men is when it comes to dealing with women, we're not sure about who we are. When
Oh
you
yeah,
sure
you
about
got to
who
know
you
that
are,
first.
nothing else matters. Huh?
Because I think honestly, I think a woman could sniff that out. If you ain't sure about who you are, she'll sniff that out right quick.
Oh, yeah, you about to get a run on you.
Hmm.
But the moment that you're sure about who you are, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And
At that point, it's respect it or check it.
yeah, yeah, it is. And so, And that's what I try to do with black men. I try to talk to them when we do like our summits and stuff. Say, look, man, I said when you go to a hunter and taxidermist house, you don't see the head of a buck. I mean, you don't see the head of a doe. You see the head of a buck. When
Hmm.
you go to a rodeo, you don't see them riding a heifer or a cow. You see them riding a bull.
Hmm.
When you go out in the country, you don't hear the hens waking people up. It's the rooster.
It's the rooster.
The you guys, black men in general, are the most valuable man on the planet,
These are
and
facts. Actual
I just
facts.
want them to know that, and I want them to know that, and I want them to know all of them, whether we have our differences, because it was Republicans versus Democrats down there. But after all of us grown men in our 40s, we had some young G's in there in their 20s. But I said, I
Yeah, to
want
be
them to know
honest,
that. I said,
that's who need to be in there.
yeah. And when we went to the barbershop, I suggested because it's the last black sanctuary that we have in society.
It is
And
ours. Absolutely.
that's yeah, that people, because even the minister is transparent up in the barbershop, right? You
Oh,
know what I'm saying?
absolutely. Absolutely. Rev coming
He,
there, but you know what? Like he ain't in the cloth that day. So Rev in there kicking good shit with you. You know what I'm saying? He gonna keep it a
uh,
buck.
he gonna keep it a buck because that's a men's place. That's a safe zone for men. Is that barbershop, and especially the black barbershop. That's why Ice Cube
Absolutely.
did so many moves off it because it resonates with us. And I want to tell him, I say, you're not in danger and you're not being attacked because you're worthless. You're being
Nah.
attacked because you're valuable. Everything
Because
is
you're
coming
valuable.
against you. Right. You're an endangered species because you're valuable.
You're
And
hunted. Absolutely.
so when it comes to dealing with women, you can have whatever woman you want, and she can be whatever it is that you want, but you can't let her words, I wouldn't even ask about her past. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. And I hate to get Christian science on it, but as a man that's made a lot of mistakes in my life, I don't live in what you did. I live in where we going.
You know what? And that would be ideal if the did isn't really if the did was a did instead of a does.
Right. Well, I don't look for none. If it, like I said, I have a rule. If something doesn't look right, I'm leaving. I don't. I have a hard cutoff on that. If a woman interrupts me twice, first time if I'm trying to get a sentence out, I'll be like, hey, listen, baby, I want to be able to finish my sentence now. Please let me finish. Second time, be like, okay, I'm shutting off. I'm not gonna be able to talk. But I can't finish my sentence, and well, that means we can't communicate. Therefore, we can't have a real relationship. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and roll on you. You know what I'm saying?
It's done.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. I think that black men just they've been beat down so much that they don't know who they are, and that's what you have to. That's what the enemy wants, brother. You know what I'm saying? He want
Hmm.
his whole design. How is it that black men are more scarce than any other subgroup in the United States?
We said
We
scarce.
die subgroup more scarce
Interesting.
because of we die earliest. We have the largest homeless population. We
Mm.
have a homosexual population. Now we're talking about
Mm.
men that are available for women per se. And then so
Mm.
therefore, even with that, there's no such thing as bisexual. People are gonna argue that, and I don't care. But if you like men, you're gay. You might play with a woman, but you're gay. So even women begin to accept even that behavior because of the level of scarcity. You got the largest percentage of per capita men in the penitentiary were
Mm.
killed in the womb at a greater rate. Women are accepting married men because of the scarcity. So
Ooh.
here's what I'm trying to say. And
Ooh.
you got the Kardashian effect, which effectively made it in such a way to where it's okay and non-taboo for every nationality of woman to want black men.
I
And
mean,
so
and then the jail, and then the dudes in prison. Like when that prison population coming out, like these dudes is coming home to homes. Like I was into that show Love After Lockdown one time, and like these dudes is coming home 10 plus years and coming home to homes just because.
Right, and and that's how you know women love attention, right? And that's what you have to compete against because you and I would never have a long distance relationship with a woman in prison.
Hell
But a
no.
woman can be fulfilled with a relationship with
Oh,
a man
that's a whole relationship to her.
because the attention. And we always know that people don't the men that have less to do with their time are better for giving better attention. You have to
Absolutely.
decide what you want. But these women want you to be the provider. They want the mansion. They want the yacht. They want the vacations to Dubai and things of that nature. But they want you to be at home with them and show them attention all the time. You can't have both. And
That's real. I got my nephew in the building. He said the pass could come up unwarranted though, and then you would be mad she wasn't upfront about it. Dude, I mean, if we letting the past be in the past, it should stay there. Your past gets to coming up to the front. Is it really your past, or is it? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You used to be versus your what is. With that, it's like it's a double edged sword. You really don't want to know what your girl was doing before you. So it's like, is it a
if
way
it,
around that? Probably not.
well, if it comes up a lot of times, I
I
mean,
mean, if it come up a lot of times, your girl still doing that shit. Like, yo,
or it's like, damn. I mean, what's going on? What are we looking like out here? You know, I mean,
man, like
it's very
I don't,
likely.
and I never wanted to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? To where I show up somebody name, I'm like, God damn, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, you remember that, man? Yeah, ooh. And so now you're the guy standing next to, oh girl, that girl. It's just like you don't want to be that guy. I'm telling you, like, and you know, it ain't even an age thing at this point because it's motherfuckers getting blowed out in their 20s now. To where it's like 28. She went from a Mustang to a Ford Tempo already. By
Oh
28,
yeah, yeah,
27,
yeah.
29. Before they beating out 30 now. And see, I remember now, mind you, like this mentality is not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, there was girls out here that was setting it out or whatever, but they had a way about how they did it. Only certain dudes knew about it. You know what I'm saying? And if you talked, you lost your spot in line. You got out of line, and you can't get back in line because you talk too much. Well, that gave everybody the want to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna keep my mouth closed on this one. I don't want to get thrown out of line. You know what I'm saying? That girl's always existed, but she had a way about how she did her shit though. It's like now they don't care and will tell
They
you about how
don't.
they don't care. It boggles the mind. Like what
Women are actually more promiscuous than men are.
been like that.
Yeah, and so I will say this. I mean, just because of accessibility to things, but I agree with you. I think it is hard when you're out and and to your point, your nephew, yeah, you could see it and it could, but I mean the way you handle it. When I was married, if I was out with my wife and she said, not even she, if I seen somebody around, case in point, when she went out for a bachelorette party, it was a men that came in there, and the first thing I did was go over and greet them to get their names and all this, that, and the other. And if it comes up, then if I see that name or hear that name again, then I know that something is not right.
Okay, point of reference.
Um, yeah, because we can't be friends with people that we've had any things with, and I think that works both ways.
And see, but when I say that, you know what I'm saying, I get looked at crazy. That's why I call
Well,
Laris.
you
Laris said
ah,
maybe it'll slide.
yeah, right. Blame it on me, right? I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I think that I mean in general, I think that men will stand their ground. I mean, like a lot of times our women, because they don't have the physical strength and a lot of other things, they'll huff and puff till they blow your house down. You know what I mean? As long as your house is made of bricks, they can't blow it down. It doesn't matter what they say.
I remember
You
that story
know,
too.
you do?
Yeah, literary masterpiece.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. So I think that, I mean, yes. So yes, to answer your question, a hoe can choose to become a housewife because sometimes we have to do, as even as men, we got to do things that we have to do the wrong thing to know that we want to do the right thing. And I'm telling you this because I've dated women who identified as gay. I've had gay women even approach me, and it doesn't make sense, right? You know what I mean? I'm talking about they've declaratively been gay. But
Most
sometimes
niggas
when
that
they get
been gay.
around the right masculinity, I mean, you feel what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I mean, like, you wouldn't even think, not the films. I mean, it'd be the butch.
Oh man, I have been saying this for almost 20 years now. Studs is out here taking dick, bro.
Yeah. Hey, I had a little rhyme with that, man. Actually, I'm gonna use it when I go out. Hopefully, Preach will let me come with him when it's time for him to do another spoken word thing. But I said I'm a Confederate. Um, I love fish fries and fist fights and pistols and pit bulls. I'm a Confederate from the South where we don't watch Dick Van Dyke on Nick at Night, but I'm from the South where dykes secretly take dick at night or something like that. Yeah.
That's slick though. Hey, that that's real though. Dick Van Dyke on Nick at Night for the South where Dykes take Dick at Night. I like that. That's
Yeah.
slick though. That's slick as fuck, man.
I put a little bit of effort into it.
No doubt, no doubt. I see it. I see it.
So the reason I'm saying that is to say, like, yeah, man. I mean, so Sir Lancelot wasn't the biggest, strongest dude, but he pulled the sword out of stone. And yeah, I mean, it can happen to the most unsuspected person. I've seen some of the rudest, meanest women come across men that are a certain way, and for whatever reason, something connects spiritually with them. And if she wants to, if she loves what she loves, but she got to know, you just got to be firm. If the tendencies are that she wants to drift back,
Mm,
you gotta let her know. If I ain't gonna go through your shit now. But if I see something or something ain't right, I'm leaving.
right. And it's one
And
of those
that's it.
type that.
That's it.
Let me ask you this last question, and we out, man. Can she be saved? Like, the whole Captain Saber whole thing. Like, is it a dude with a magic cape and whatever that can get her out of that, or is it one of those things she has to do it for herself? She has to do it on her own.
She has to do it on her own. But it is incumbent upon the man to be the man that motivates her to want to do that. And trust me, there are certain things you can do. I mean, A. Marie said is just this one thing that you did. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, like, there are women who have had a lot of sex, and then one man can have her a orgasm. You know what I mean? It's all
One
in
of
the
the
mind.
one
What
of
do
the
you do
real
to
ones,
her mind?
absolutely.
Yeah, I've
Hmm.
seen it. So yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think that if as men, we have to groom them though, and we have to have patience, right? We didn't get where we got overnight,
These are facts.
and because we
These are facts.
didn't, we have to be patient, right?
These are
So
facts.
if you're not willing to, a groom is just what it is, it grooms. And if you're not willing to groom, you're not willing to put in the work, we can't ask them to put in the work and then we don't put in the work. And I have to be fair about that with them. We
That's
have to
real.
put the work in. Yeah.
That's real. That's real. I got Diamond Core in the building. Diamond, what up, brother? I got JC Rocker in the building. One of my favorite artists that's out now. I don't listen to too many people that wasn't, born in the 80s, but I fuck with JC Rocker, man. It's that dude got pimp principles. I respect that. I mean, that's Red Cup knowledge. You see what's in his hand? I got red.
Yeah.
I got red cup. I got Juneteenth red cup at that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Big shouts out to JC Rocker. Yo, keep doing that thing you do, shout. Goddamn, tearing that shit up. She just performed somewhere recently. Make sure you post that YouTube link a couple more times, and I'll make sure I share it too. But yeah, man, yo, it's been a good one, Hodges. One thing we cannot do is we cannot let it be another 2 months before we do this again.
No,
Understand?
you're right. I'll do it with you every night, man. I don't care. You know
Hey,
what I'm
we could do this, man. This is thing of ours, man. This is a little level of
saying?
exclusivity.
This is the thing that we
Everybody can't
do.
do it. Right?
It,
Absolutely.
it it may not be these two zaggins, but you know what I'm saying. It can be
It's this
done.
thing of ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, indeed, man. Tell these folk, man, how they can follow you and get up with you. What you got moving out here in the city, man? Cause yo, Laris ain't just if you know Laris is on the move. Like if you follow this brother, this dude is out there. What is that? MLK and Ashby the other day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right
like
there in the West
my
End, man.
my
Yeah.
brother is outside, so you know, what I'm saying social media, you might catch me in there, but yo, catch him on the block, man. Hey, Larry, tell these folks, man, like you know, what I'm saying how they can find you, reach
Well,
out to you,
look, this
whatever.
all they gotta do is put in Laris, Laris. They can do that on any social media site. The only problem with that is you might see some things you want to see and not see, and I don't mean explicit. So, we've all made some mistakes. We've all made a few mistakes, so but we learn and we grow from. Like I said, this whole show is about sometime this whole show. Anyway, I just caught that. No pun intended. It's about sometimes you gotta do the wrong thing to know that you want to do the right thing.
I mean, that's perfect. That's like one of those Jerry Springer final thought moments right there.
Yeah, I like your show. You think you can get me in on that or something? I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna be no more Jerry Springer episodes.
I don't think. I think after what Tennessee did, ain't gonna be no more Maury Povich episodes. So we gonna find out who the father is right there in this hospital. I
You got
mean,
you goddamn right, and I'm here for that
because
shit.
that's what the law says. It says you will not be able to sign the birth certificate in the state of Tennessee until the paternity test is done.
I like
So
it.
we ain't gonna have to wait for Maury to flail that envelope. We gonna find out now.
Right. Have to go out a commercial and shit, man. Watch all these Neosporin commercials just to figure out who the baby daddy is and shit.
Right,
Yeah,
Dawn dish detergent. Yeah.
right. Y'all know where to find me at Dope Enterprise on YouTube, Dope Enterprise on Facebook, Dope Dot Enterprise on IG. That is where you can find me. We getting back into the groove, man. Yo, I'm gonna start clearing up my evenings to where I can at least jump in here with y'all at least once a night, man. Cause like I said, it was so bad. I was having issues logging in the stream, y'all, because they ain't seen me in 2 months. So it's crazy. But yo, I'm back like I never left, man. Dope ain't went nowhere, man. Also, I'm working on getting y'all some merchandise. I got a couple of things moving as far as merchandise go. Big shouts out to the Georgia Hitters, man. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta and Macon chapter kicking good shit. Cowboys is 3-1 right now. I'm loving this shit. You know what I'm saying? Also tomorrow, please be in the building tomorrow. Yo, I got another couple of dope brothers coming in there, and they gonna really kick that good shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like I mean, it's not that dope ain't still hitting like it was because the dope still hitting. It's just finding that time to have that sit down with yourself and be like, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into it. You know what I'm saying? But I will for y'all, I will give that hour 2 hours out of my week for y'all, man, because I miss it just as much as y'all do. You know what I'm saying? So, this is just the beginning of some more of something new. You know what I'm saying? Beginning of another beautiful thing. Like how we always do. And I wouldn't find it nobody else I would bring it in with, but you know what I'm saying, my brother from a beer in the conversation, Mr. Hodges over here on the left side, you know what I'm saying, who is out here. I'm telling you, he is making noise out here in the city. Y'all gonna hear that name enough to where y'all finna get tired of it in a minute. But it
Yeah,
ain't
I'm telling you.
but it ain't going nowhere. So there's that. But like I
Thanks,
said, dope.
thanks, Agony. I
Oh, it's all
appreciate you.
good, man. No doubt, man. But yeah, Dope Enterprise on Facebook, Dope Enterprise on YouTube, Dope Dot Enterprise on IG. Be just like I said, be on the lookout for all the shit that is moving because it's moving right now. I end this show like I end all my other shows. Imitation is a sincere form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. I am DJ Agony. That is my brother Laris Hodges, and we are full of red cup knowledge. And we out. Peace.